Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. A number of XRP chart analysts believe there is at least some possibility that we could see another notable price crash, but none of these analysts have changed their expectations for XRP's price peak this market cycle. We're still going to have that euphoric blow off top for the entire crypto space. By the way, that doesn't mean every single altcoin hits a new all-time high, but it certainly does mean that XRP will continue to be a participant here, and it's been leading the way. And this is coming from XRP chart analysts who successfully saw that XRP would burst to the upside this market cycle, which means they're probably worth mentioning, probably worth listening to, because too many chart analysts either weren't paying attention or their brains were just so deranged that, XRP derangement syndrome, that they just couldn't see what was so obviously right in front of them. So I know we've been moving sideways a bit recently, but this is part of what it is to be in crypto. The good news is, since we are in the bull run phase, we don't have to wait as long as we would for other parts of the cycle. Like at the depths of the bear market, you really got to wait a long time to see some interesting price action. Not so at this particular moment in time. Things could heat up and pop any day, quite literally, and it's certainly possible we could have to wait a few weeks, maybe we have to wait a couple months, who knows, but it's coming. Before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 6:27 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. XRP at $2.41, Bitcoin at $96,789. So we're seeing a little bit more red. Just about every asset, at least in the top 50 coins by market cap, but nothing disastrous here. Big question, of course, because obviously, it's stuff like what happens the other day happened, and we had the dramatic market-wide crash with Bitcoin faring better than pretty much any other coin out there, which is still quite an oddity. When something like that happens, it can absolutely destroy sentiment. And there are some people questioning whether we're even going to continue moving to the upside. And I'll just say this, I don't know for sure. Nobody does know for sure. And anybody intellectually honest will tell you that they don't know for sure. And so then it just comes down to, okay, what about historic precedent? What are the probabilities? And even when you get moments like these, and I've been through a number of them over the years, those moments in and of themselves don't mean anything. You could throw them out. They're memorable, but they're outliers. They're outliers. If history is to continue rhyming with itself as it typically does, then yeah, the best is yet ahead. Here's what Charting Guy had to say just hours ago. Looking for Bitcoin daily relative strength index to get down to at least 36. I think it got down there on the wick the other day, but no close there. Don't get shaken out. Everything is on track. This is just where it hit January 2024. Obviously doesn't have to hit now. Lows are likely in or very close. And so you'll see, and I'm going to share with you a number of examples, and then we'll get into some XRP specific stuff here. But I'm not seeing a reason for concern. And nobody knows for sure. I acknowledge that there's some percentage of possibility that, fine, the top's in, but that would mean that this time is different. And those are typically famous last words. People that say this time is different, they're almost always wrong as it pertains to charting. And I'm not a chart guy myself, but I've observed enough chart analysts to know that is correct. I've observed quite a few over the years. Here's a post from Mikey Bull Crypto. This is another metric worth being aware of. Retail capitulation continues. And so this post was just from this morning. And you can see the yellow line, so that would be the typical retail investor. Purple line, large investor, whales and such. Isn't it interesting that the larger investors are happy to hold and purchase, and the typical lemming retail speculators are not quite behaving the same? This is what you always see. So is it suddenly for the first time in frickin' history that the idiot lemming retail investors who are emotionally driven, they're right, and the smart, larger investors who control their emotions, who take a logic-based approach to markets, they're the ones that are wrong? Okay, first time for everything, I guess. I'm not counting on it. I'm definitely not counting on it. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Mustache. This is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, so all the altcoins out here. And he wrote, 8-year trend line for total 2, which is this chart, is still intact. So why should we be bearish? And he posted that just this morning. So he's insisting that it makes sense to continue to be an optimist here. Here's a post from Stock Money Lizards. He says, daily RSI is oversold in many altcoins in a general bull market. Even if it's going a little bit lower from here, those with the big profits buy low. Not financial advice, he says. And fair enough. But, I mean, it is true. Like when you get those big opportunities like we had the other day, for those that, want to increase the size of their positions, yeah, tons of people recognize that opportunity and they did buy all of that fear. But given that we're in a bull market here, does it really make sense to think things are over? I'm not finding that perspective from one single analyst that I regularly follow. Not one of them. Here's a post from chart analyst Peppa, and he shared this with his 152,000 followers. He's been in crypto since 2013. He's seen pretty much every cycle. And he's sharing an Others BTC chart. Now, Others is a chart that shows every cryptocurrency in existence except for the top 10 coins by market cap. So we're denominating that in Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin is the denominator here on the Others BTC pair. And he wrote, are we on the verge of 2017 plus 2021 alt season? And so for those of you looking at the screen, you can see what he's highlighted. It just means, so look, Bitcoin dominance, it's been rising, so it's not surprising to see that if you look at the coins outside of the top 10, so it's just a ton of altcoins, it's not surprising to see that it's, especially in recent days, been down. But look at this dating back to 2015. I'm going to tell you something that I said throughout 2024 specifically about XRP. As XRP came up against that trend line, that multi-year trend line, going back, frankly, close to 7 years throughout most of 2024, I said, look, I don't know for sure where the bottom is. Nobody does for sure. But markets do find bottoms. Unless we're all wrong and XRP is actually going to zero, and the Bitcoin maxis who don't know a damn thing, those idiots, if they're actually right, okay. But if they're not right, eventually markets find bottoms. Same for this chart. This is the Others BTC chart. So if you're wondering if there's going to be an alt season, I think the answer is going to be yes. I feel pretty strongly that that's the most probable outcome here. History rhymes with itself. Because what's the alternative here? What, Bitcoin keeps rocketing and then everything else actually just goes to zero here? It's the same idea, the same concept that I was talking about with XRP throughout most of last year. Markets find bottoms. And this is at a moment where we should expect it to bounce. Look at last cycle. Look at 2021. Look at 2017. It did hit the trend line. And what happened? So it would be doom and gloom for all these coins, but then rockets to the upside. That's the moment that we're living in now. Now, we as XRP holders, this is going to be easier for us because our coin, XRP, is one of the best performers in the entire space right now. So we're not feeling the heat like a lot of others are. But so many people in the space are. That's why. If you're seeing a lot of doom and gloom out there, that's why. But those are typically points of maximal opportunity. So nobody knows for sure. But which way do you want to bet that it actually breaks down and that's it? And for the first time in history, like that's it. Maybe everything actually does go to zero. This is the moment after all these years. Because I'm not going to bet that. There's also this post from chart analyst Peppa. ETH is forming a gigantic monthly symmetrical triangle. Why is nobody talking about this? So he thinks it's actually going to break out to the upside. And that would logically make sense given that sentiment's in the gutter because that's typically what's paired with this. But here's a .btc account here on X who isn't buying. He says, oh boy, the multi-year triangle boys have entered the arena. So he's obviously mocking him. Ooh, multi-year triangle. So I guess he doesn't believe that that's a thing, although it obviously is. And so he responded and wrote, you must have missed the XRP triangle breakout memo. And then he shared this post from himself November 12th of last year. Holy shit, bears are effed. XRP bi-weekly breaking out of a 2,500-day consolidation pattern just like 2017. So he saw that, and there are, how many dozens of XRP chart analysts did I highlight last year that did see this coming? There are a bunch of them. And I highlighted tons over the course of 2024. So it's a thing, and he's just saying, and the reason I'm highlighting this is because historically ETH kind of leads the way when it comes to altcoin performance here, so you would hope that it would ultimately continue to the upside there, all right? There's this post from chart analyst Dom warning that we could see a pullback in Bitcoin potentially down to $92,000. No guarantee, but if that happens, of course, you can imagine what that means for XRP specifically. Here's what Dom had to say about ETH. He said, 3 days ago, ETH printed its largest downside wick on a bullish candle in history, $716 wick. It broke the previous record by 100%. It also happened after retesting its 3,000-day uptrend as resistance. If that wasn't the low for ETH, I think it's cooked. So we don't know for sure. If it's actually cooked and that's it, okay, fine. Then that would be a first. Or the bottom's pretty much in. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. XRP update. As stated above, upper bound is $2.70, so $2.70 region, or the value area created over the last 2 months. We saw rejection there, nothing unexpected. Retests of $2.40 region also wouldn't be abnormal. Now just a range, and this breaks at $2.80. Now, he's not the only one talking about specific short-term price action and levels to watch for. Also, Crypto Michael, yet another XRP chart analyst who did call the break we saw last year. This afternoon, he said, XRP rejected the $2.70 resistance trend line and is now declining as a result. It needs to hold the $2.25 support line to avoid another leg down. And so there is a possibility things could, XRP could go lower. More on that in a second. But it doesn't change the big picture stuff that's expected. And it's just so fascinating to see Cointelegraph continue to acknowledge XRP could go way higher. Here's a headline from today. XRP price analyst bullish on $5 next, long-term target of $18. And it's just interesting to see that even Cointelegraph feels like they have to put out headlines like this when... Can you imagine over most of the last several years them putting out headlines like this? Because they're doing it regularly now. It didn't happen before. It was more scary stuff about XRP as it go into zero, that type of crap. This is not a time to be afraid. Steph's Crypto isn't changing his perspective. He's still predicting over $30 XRP. He says, my XRP bull market target, price target is $30. That's from this morning. So you can see chart analysts that saw this XRP break up, and they're not changing their opinions based on the short-term price action. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Tony, and he is still calling for $10 XRP. That has not changed. But in this post on your screen, he's saying that he expects something like the squiggles on your screen here, which means even in the relatively short term, you're looking at over $4 XRP. Here's a post from Credible Crypto from the other day. He said, no guarantees we will get it, of course, but I'll be interested in a long on XRP on a sweep of our local lows into the $1.30 to $1.60 region. Now, that upset a lot of people when he posted that the other day. He's not saying he wants it to happen. He doesn't think it's the most probable necessarily. He's acknowledging that's a thing that might occur based on his experience and what he sees in the charts. Okay, well, maybe it does. I don't know. I'm not going to be freaking out regardless. Whatever happens, I'm here. I still firmly believe at some point in the future, probably not too far from now, because we're in a bull market, we're going to enter price discovery. Everything in between is just noise. Everything from the moment I purchased all of my XRP, well, it was a number of different moments, but from the time I finished that and throughout and up to that point, all of it's just noise until one day, either I find I'm wrong and it goes to zero, or I'm actually finally enticed to sell because we entered price discovery. So nothing's changed here. I like tracking it because it's interesting, but nothing's changed. Here's a post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. He still firmly believes we're going to see XRP rocket to the upside, but he also acknowledges that we could see some scary moves to the downside. Here he wrote just this morning, XRP double bottoms on the horizon. I know backlash is coming from the XRP family, but let's focus on the charts. XRP has a tendency to form double bottoms across nearly all time frames. The $1.63 level could be a great entry point for double bottoms. I had initially projected February as the month for a blast off into Wave 3, aiming for the $6.40 fib, 1.618, and even potential double-digit territory. However, time is running short as March approaches. We might see another drop, especially if Bitcoin shit on the market. It will pull the market down with it. The CME gap hasn't been filled yet, $77,000 to $80,000, and I think it will be filled before we see a big rise to new all-time high. Right now, I'm not trading XRP, no buying or selling. I'm just waiting. If it hits $1, I have a limit order ready that could change my kid's life. So he acknowledges, he believes that there's a possibility it could get down to that range. I'm not a chart guy myself, so I don't have an opinion on whether that will or will not happen. That's just some short-term price action. But I still firmly believe, and this has been my bet the whole time I've been in crypto pretty much, is that, XRP hits a new all-time high, but of course that really wasn't the end of the equation for me. It's also got to enter price discovery, or else we never get to that point where I unload. So, and I do want to sell. Ideally, I'd love to sell all of my XRP, but I have to be sufficiently enticed by the price, or that ain't going to happen. So if we start to get up to the types of levels I'm interested in, then I certainly will. And I still firmly believe that is what's going to happen, or I wouldn't be here. But the strength is very obvious. It's very difficult for anyone to deny at this point. It's just substantially outperforming the market. So all that to say, I understand that there's just more sideways price action, but this is not a time to be afraid. This is a time to be excited and optimistic. As soon as we see top indicators which you'll be able to see throughout the market when it happens. Like when it happens, one after another will come, and I'll be screaming, "Hey, watch out!" Just so you know, this meant disaster was about to hit in previous market cycles. Like, those moments are going to come. They are not here yet. So unless this time is different, which I find technically possible, unless this time is different, we're going to have some crazy, incredible times ahead for us. That's all I'm saying. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything, because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.